This is Portia from Portia Takes on the BlackBelt. Thank you for tuning in. Tonight's show is Reverend Eddie Richardson of Bass Tabernacle, a native of the BlackBelt of Alabama. Thank you so much for watching and see you soon. All right, so can you tell me what's your name?
Reverend Eddie C. Richardson.
Mr. Richardson. Reverend Richardson.
Reverend Richardson.
Reverend Richardson from...
I'm from Linden, Alabama.
Oh, you from the BlackBelt?
Yes, I am from the BlackBelt.
Wow, okay.
Born and raised in the BlackBelt.
Okay, okay.
I was born in Bryan Whitfield Hospital.
Oh, so that's my hospital now.
Yes, indeed.
So you're from the BlackBelt, born and raised in the BlackBelt. Did you leave the BlackBelt?
Yeah, well, I left when I went to Miles.
Okay.
So I've been living in the Birmingham area ever since I went to Miles. And 1993 is when I graduated from high school. And so I've been in Birmingham ever since. But, you know, now being able to be a pastor back in the BlackBelt, it's like I'm back at home.
Good. That's good. That's good. All right. So one of the things that, you know, what is the name of your church?
Bass Tabernacle.
Bass Tabernacle.
CME. In Akron, Alabama.
Okay, Akron. All right. Now, Bass used to be two different churches, right?
Correct.
All right. And I remember that now the old church that I can remember is like the back way. So it was my bus route. Okay. It was over there in the corner. I don't remember it was Bass by itself, right?
No, the two churches were Flatwood and Liberty.
Liberty, that's what the name of it was. Yeah, and then they had the same pastor.
Right.
And then they combined the two churches and built the church where you are right now. Okay.
Correct. Yes, Reverend Glenn Jones.
Reverend Jones.
Yeah, rest in peace to Reverend Jones and his foresight. Yes, and so he was the pastor of, at that time, Flatwood and Liberty. And put the vision together to bring both of the churches together as one. Because as he was pastoring, as history holds it, they would come every other Sunday to the other church.
Right.
And so he decided, since I'm the pastor of both churches and we're worshiping together every Sunday, let's go ahead and move into one church. And to have it fair, we'll vote on one name for the church.
Okay, and thus you have Bass Tabernacle.
Yes.
What has your experience been like pastoring in that area, in the Hale County area?
Well, this is actually my 5th year pastoring in the Hale County area.
Okay.
The previous 4 years I was at Martin Mission CME Church, which is right up the street on Highway 60. And so my experience thus far in the BlackBelt, it took me back to my time growing up in Linden, Alabama.
Okay.
And realizing, although children have the internet now, but there's still a lack of opportunity for success in the BlackBelt. You still have, you know, poverty is a little higher than what it was when I graduated.
True.
And most of the children are still not getting exposed to the opportunities that life has to offer.
Okay.
You know, especially through education.
Right.
You know, and so that's what my experiences have shown me in the BlackBelt is that, hey, although you do have more access to things now, the children are still not getting that access to it as they really could.
So do you think so much, you know, when you talk about social media and the access that people, do you think that that's the problem? Like, you can get online the internet to find out about what's popping. And and as far as whatever it is, whether it's negative, positive, go to this page. But when it comes to actually, you know, when you're talking about internships, not even knowing how to do that, how to interview, how to do those things. Let's talk about that. What do you think that is like? You know, schools can only do so much.
Correct.
And so when you're thinking about it in that aspect, what do you feel about people actually wanting to do what can be done to bridge that gap in which you speak of?
Well, I think as for myself, right now, with me having left the BlackBelt, went to school, and see a lot of the things that you are talking about, and now I know about some of those things. I think it's incumbent upon people like myself, you, and like you doing now with your videos and your action in the BlackBelt, activism in the BlackBelt, that persons as ourselves have to come back and expose the young ones to the opportunities that are here, because they only go to the things that they know about.
Right.
So just like you said, social media, you know, and gossip sites, those are easily accessed.
That's right.
You know, and those are the things that are mostly advertised through media. But it takes things like this where we have to talk about, hey, go to this website for access to this type of grant. Go to this place, and these people will help you get in school. As a matter of fact, that's something that we're doing at our church, at Bass Tabernacle.
Okay.
And my experience there thus far is, I see that the church, even before I got there, has been a real a staple in the community to be available to and be open to the community. Prior years ago, Reverend Jones and the church, they had an educational program that they would do. I think it was called like the Bass Achievement Program, Enrichment Program. I know that's not the exact name. I can't remember the exact name, but it was. But they impacted a lot of children with training them and tutoring them. And so now, what we plan on doing as well is taking that similar to that same model, partnering with Hale County High School.
Okay. And
doing what within our CME church, we have a program called One Church, One School.
Okay.
Where the church, the denomination wants each church to adopt a school. And you adopt that school and you address whatever needs are in that school. And whatever is going on in your community, you find the resources within your church and within the community and outside that you can reach, and you use those to make a difference in that school. So what we have right now, what we're planning right now for September the 11th, there's a National College Fair in Birmingham at the Civic Center. Okay. And right now we are planning to take the juniors and seniors from Hale County High School to that college fair. Okay. To show them all of, because they usually have over 100 colleges.
Wow. And the national one.
National. Yes, it's the national one. So you have colleges from all around the South, all of the East Coast, and a few in the Midwest that come to this conference here in Birmingham. And they have it once a year in Birmingham. And I got exposed to it when I heard about it. I took my niece and nephew about 4 years ago. Right. And what I noticed from taking them is they talked to the different recruiters, and and they would get the rubber bands and the pens and things like that. And so I noticed that the 2 years after my nephew, it wasn't a time when I would see him that he didn't still have on one of those rubber bands. And so as a result, he went to the Army, and now he just got out of basic training AIT. Right. And once he got back, he came back and he said, I'm going to Tuskegee. Wow. Now, he knows I wanted him to go to Miles.
Of course. You're supposed to. You're supposed to. What are you doing?
But I'm just proud that he's going.
Absolutely. What can we do to change the mindset of the people?
That's tough.
I know.
That's tough. I go back and say that we try to grab the children as much as possible. And as you grab the children, I think once the parents see the impact that you have on their child, it will in turn, if they desire, it will change their mindset to look at things differently. Okay. And then also I think that when we get the children, that we not only expose them to the access to things that are accessible away from the BlackBelt, but also tell them to, as they go and look at other things, think about what they could do to bring something back to the BlackBelt. That's something that I kind of wrestle with myself.
Right. Absolutely.
Is that, okay, I left, went to college, and got married and did all these things, and I still live in Birmingham, but I didn't have the training to say, well, somebody told me, hey, go get this from somewhere else, but then come back home and make another impact in your community in this way. With me, even though I preach now, so I have a chance to come back.
Right.
But profession wise, I own a barber shop.
Okay.
You know, and I got my degree in education.
Oh wow.
So I could have went back home and taught school, but I never went and taught school. I just stayed. I stayed in the barber shop. Okay, well, being in Birmingham definitely does well because we have more people there versus if I went back home. And I've been able to hold steady over the years, even with the impact of the recession. You know, I think because Birmingham and the state of Alabama has had so many different vehicle plants open up over the years.
That's true.
That many people have come in and out, and so that's what's been keeping me busy and keeping me steady.
Okay.
Is the influx of young men coming in and working at these plants and having a steady job in that form.
Okay.
I think not to be so rigid, that as pastors and members in churches that we loosen up a bit, you know, have fun with the children. Especially now with music, you have so many good gospel rappers. When we were in Memphis this past week, the children had a great time with the concert with the Walls Group and Tasha Cobb. Yes, it was great.
Wow. Yeah, I love the Walls Group. Yes, they're awesome.
Yeah, so when you allow the children to express themselves the way that they are expressing themselves and give them an opportunity to rap the gospel, you know, teach them the scriptures and let them express it in the same way that they would their rapping or their singing. You know, if they want to step, let them step. If they want to praise dance, let them praise dance. Because it's all praising God.
Right.
You know, when I was growing up, I would see some people in the church that they would shout the same way every Sunday. So,
the spirit hit you the same way
every Sunday. You know? So
I hear you, man.
Yeah. So and now we want to hold it. We didn't. You know, pastors didn't stop them from running around the church. Pastors didn't stop them from shouting.
Right.
But yet, when a child comes in and has a different way of expressing themselves,
wow,
we stop it. But yet, we had that child in Sunday school every Sunday. We sat there and we taught that child the scriptures. We taught them the main biblical stories, you know, in Genesis of the creation, and taught them about Noah, and then taught them about Jesus. And we had them in these plays at Christmas time and at Easter time. And then now when they grow up and they start trying to express it in a different way than what we express ourselves, we want to tell them that that's not the way to do it. But if we let them come into the church and express themselves fully in the church, then we can keep a hold on them in a greater way. On last year's, I was in a I did a clinical at a nursing home last year.
Okay.
Some clinical work at a nursing home, and I was talking to one of the older gentlemen, and he was telling me about his experience in the church. And the church he grew up in, he said that on the weekends in the basement, they would have dances for the neighborhood. And I said, what kind of music did they play? He said they played the popular music of that day. And he said we came to the church, they had the DJ.
Wow.
And we danced in the basement, you know. And I said, you mean to tell me? Now he was almost 80 years old. And so he was talking about when he was in his preteen and teenage years. So I said, so you telling me over 60 years ago, 56 years ago, that in the church during that time, they played the popular music of the day, and you could actually dance in the church, in the basement. And he said, yeah, because their thing was, they're going to get impacted. These children are going to get impacted by the world regardless. But if you bring it here and you take control of it, you can manage how it impacts the child. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able
to do that. Nah, they ain't done it. They ain't there yet. They ain't done it. It was powerful though.
But it was, but that has stayed with me, as you see, and it will stay with me forever, that they actually, instead of having it where the child would go to a club or try to go somewhere else, they had no need because the church was where they got everything that was in life.
Which is why it was so powerful in the 60s. And so let's stay at that. You know, you see the things that are going on, it's like a flip. And when integration hit, black people left the church, in my opinion. And so now we're seeing those times that they ran from coming back. Like it never left, but it's becoming more prevalent. Like it's getting back to the spotlight again.
Correct.
What do you say about that? What are your thoughts on those things? And listen to what you just said about, you know, how powerful the church was. You know, they couldn't rent out the town hall or the Masonic Lodge or, you know, or the Elks Lodge. Come on now. They couldn't rent those places out back then in the 50s and the 60s. So they had to go to their basement to have it there because they couldn't do it nowhere else.
You're right.
So knowing those things and how impact, like you said, the church was everything in our community. That's where businesses grew. That's where all this was. Yes. So how is, you know, with all the things that are happening now, what are you seeing? What are you seeing happening in your opinion?
My opinion, I see a major shift that happened during that time, and I think now we kind of stuck in neutral with everybody wondering where do we go now, because we don't have a specific leader necessarily like a Martin Luther King that is around, and everybody has so much access to in media to all these different outlets right. and different themes and different things to That's say. Right. So everybody is kind of sitting like, okay, which way do we need to go right now? This is Reverend Eddie C. Richardson of Bass Tabernacle CME Church, Akron, Alabama, and I'm with Portia as she takes on the black belt. And trust me, she is taking on the black belt.
We will have to give back to our community in order to see it grow. Thank you so much, Reverend Richardson, for giving your feedback about how you think the black belt can be able to improve. Next week's show is going to include Dr. Richardson of the Alabama State Board of Education, as well as a candidate running for mayor in the city of Demopolis. I'm not going to tell you who it is. You're going to have to watch. Make sure you share on Facebook and subscribe on YouTube. Portia takes on the black belt. Bye-bye.
This is another Too Cool production.
Well,